Tens on the top middle. I open and call the two all-ins, but unfortunately lose to pocket sixes. Next hand, ace-8 is good enough to raise for value versus these weaker limping players. Queen-jack suited, bottom left. I open and c-bet small three-way with my flush draw. With two callers, it's a very tricky spot on the turn. The turn connects with both players' ranges, and with there being two flush draws, a shove won't get too much respect. I don't want to bet small and get shoved on, so I decide to check. Ace-3, I should have opened top middle. King-6, top right, is probably a call, but given the small blind shoved instantly, the population will miss some shoves, and I have a good edge on the field. I decided to fold. It may be too good to fold though. Queen-jack may be a profitable river bluff, but it's not a great river for it, three-way, and so I decided to give it up. 4-2 on the bottom right, I decide to start with a value protection bet and get raised. Good enough odds to continue. I have a tiny bit of showdown value on the river once it checks down, so I decide to check, but it wouldn't be the worst spot in the world to turn this hand into a bluff. King 10 top right, I go for a min raise rather than a shove, trying to stretch out my last 9 big blinds, particularly with the bubble approaching in this one. And with King 10 on the top left, I do the same, and then c-bet very small. A shove would have been fine there as well pre-flop. Top middle, I isolated the small blind limper and c-bet this board really small with a gut shot, weak flush draw, and we're approaching the bubble. He shoves turn though, so I have to fold. Top right, tried to sneak through a tiny c-bet three-way, but it doesn't work. Nevertheless, I risked only 1/3 of my stack and had 2 good opportunities to take down the pot. Now I still have 6 big blinds, which is plenty. Ace-2 bottom middle, I bet call the flop with my equity, but I have to fold the turn to a shove. Queen-jack top middle, seems like a reasonable spot to donk small. I block ace-queen, ace-jack, pocket queens, pocket jacks. I have overcards to many pairs, and villain could just have no pair, which folds. 9-7 suited isn't a shove top right, because high card hands are favoured shallow stacked. I do open 10-8 offsuit top middle though, approaching the bubble, just using my chip lead a little. With pocket 9s bottom right, shove would be fine as well, but I like min raising to increase how many decisions my opponents have to make against me. I flop a set, but unfortunately don't get paid this time. King 4 is plenty good enough now, top right. I've hit another set, bottom middle, and trying to get value. Top left, I prefer a little c-bet here rather than trying to check and get my king high to showdown. King 7 on the top middle seems like a really nice spot to squeeze. We're 2 off the money, and we've got an offsuit trashy Broadway hand. I can apply a lot of pressure here for a very small size. It's very tough for either of the players to continue. And with the king-jack, it's very unlikely that my opponent has an ace, but I don't think they'll fold the turn with the pairs if I shove. I decide to check back and bluff catch some rivers and potentially bluff when checked to. The 7 connects with quite a lot of hands, but I think I still have a tiny bit of showdown here, so I decide to just check. And top middle, I decide to go to 7 here as a 4-bet, rather than shove, on the off chance that he has 3-bet fold hands in his range. I want to give him the illusion of fold equity, and also price them into call. In this spot, he just ends up having aces though. Bottom right, I raise pre-flop and get a tiny c-bet through with the ace-6. On the top middle, I raise pre-flop, got called, c-bet the flop, got called, and villain's range is very ace-high heavy, and I don't expect to get shoved on too often on the turn, especially near the bubble. So I decide to fire my flush draw again, and do just get a fold this time. Ace-jack, top middle, I call an all-in, and hold against king-queen for a nice pot. Bottom left is a limped pot. I'm going for a triple barrel here with my open ender. Bet the flop. And then bet the turn nice and small. But I end up rivering a straight, so now I'm going for value. And top middle, get it in with ace-jack. And hold, so we're in the money now. 10-7 offsuit, top middle. I open to 2.5x, but I think 3x or 3.5x would be better here. The big blind won't want to play a pot as second in chips, so I should apply a bit more pressure to his range, not let him see a flop very cheaply. Bottom right, I'm not chip leader, but I am short stack, so there isn't so much ICM pressure on me. As I said before, I really like 3 big blind opening at 20 big blinds deep with trash. King 4 on the top middle, I open raise, get a call, and then when it's checked to me, I decide to not c-bet, as it doesn't achieve too much on this board, and I can use my king high as a showdown hand. This is the perfect turn to bluff catch. And on the river I face a bet. Villain would have been incentivized on the turn to start bluffing all of his air and all of his small pairs, so I think he'll be weighted too much towards bluffs for me to be able to find a fold here. Queen 3 suited, bottom left. I'm raising small here because I want to encourage calls or folds, not shoves. I don't particularly want to have to fold this hand pre-flop. I don't expect too many 3-bet shoves, given we're nearing the bubble as well. And then on the flop, I make a small c-bet and take it down. Top middle, I learn from my mistake and open the small blind a little bit bigger this time. As always, if you have any questions related to this topic or any questions at all, I offer a free coaching service in the VIP Grinders Discord server. Feel free to come in and ask anything you like. I look forward to seeing you there.